So in the previous video, we had looked at classifications, and we looked at a couple of items up here on the statement of income. We're continuing on with this now, and we're looking at the cash sales here, credit sales and sales returns, and the fact that the student here has manually entered in all the data. We don't want to manually enter in all the data. We want to use Excel to the best of its capabilities, and Excel is extremely capable. So first things first, down here with the accounts names and the account amounts, I'm going to select the 3 revenue accounts and their amounts, and I'm going to do a Control X to cut and paste. I've done Control X. Now I select this cell up here. I just select the first cell where I want everything to go from there down. Watch this. I do a Control V now, or I could just hit Enter. Let's try just hitting Enter. Boom. There they are. They have disappeared from down here, and they have appeared up here. What's good about that is that when I finish this exercise and I have transferred all of these accounts and their amounts over to the income statement and the balance sheet, I will know I've accounted for everything and not missed anything or left anything behind. And that's very important. Now, of course, I've doubled up with some of these figures over here, so I'm just going to delete those figures that were already there. These figures here, I don't want them in this first column. I'm going to highlight them, and when I highlight them, there's a green line around the edge of all the cells that I have selected. When I move my cursor, which has got a white plus sign, over to the edge of the green line, it goes to a thin black plus sign with arrows. I'm going to left click and drag all these amounts, these figures, over to the second column. Like that. There we go. Another option would have been, I'm going to do a Control Z to undo that. I could do a Control X to cut, click where I want it to go, the first cell, and then hit Enter. And I've cut and pasted them. That's 2 different ways to move all these figures to where I want them. Now, truth be known, the sales, this net sales figure I want in this column over here. I could have put those in the 4th column, sorry, the 3rd column. I might do that. Let's cut and paste over there. No, going to go back one. Because this sales returns figure, I want just that figure to be in the 3rd column there. So I cut and pasted that by Control X. I selected this figure, Control X, move my cursor where I wanted it to go, and hit Enter. There it is. It's moved from here to there. These 2 figures here, we want to add them together, and I want to put the sum of those 2 figures right here. So rather than manually doing it, 240 plus 12 is 252. We can do that, but we don't want to do that manually in our head. We want Excel to do it. So I'm going to type in equals, and then select what I want to do, the cells I want. I want this cell, so I click with the mouse, I select it with the mouse, then hit plus, and then select this cell by left-clicking the mouse. And this figure here now has, when I double-click in that cell, it shows me the equation behind the number. I7 plus I8 gives us 252,000. We now want to deduct the sales returns from this figure and put the balance of that right here. So I select the cell where I want my answer to go, and I start typing in equals this cell, 252, minus this cell, select it with my cursor, and there it is. I'm now going to double click on this cell, and it shows the equation behind the cell. 252 minus 2,000. There it is. Now, all of these figures here, none of them have equations behind them. This here is a figure from over here, so too are these 2 figures. This figure here should be an equation. Behind this scenes, if I double click in it, it should say 54 minus 5, but it doesn't. So this figure here, if I type in here, equals, select that cell, select minus, then select this cell. I've still got 49,000, but I'm letting Excel do all the calculations for me. This figure here is the sum of this whole column there. Now, it's not supposed to say cost of goods sold. It should say cost of goods available for sale. I'm going to double click in here, and my cursor is now inside the cell. I can now move my cursor around with the arrows. Cost of goods, I'm going to write in here available for sale, okay? Because the cost of goods available for sale is the sum of my opening inventory plus everything I bought and the cost of everything I bought. So this figure here, rather than doing it manually and entering 350,000, I want Excel to add up everything in this column. And I'm not going to do it this time by selecting this, then pressing plus, and then selecting this, then pressing plus, and blah, 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 like we did before. I'm going to use a function. I'm going to use the sum function, SUM, to sum up everything in this column. So I select this cell. I'm going to overwrite the 350. I'm going to type in equals. I'm going to type in sum. This is the function I want to use. Sum means to add up. I put in a bracket. And now with my mouse left click and select this whole column. Well, not really the whole column, but those 5 cells to get these 4 figures. Now I'm just going to hit enter. I could put the bracket around it, but I don't need to. Just hit enter. And there it is. I've got the same 350, but this time Excel is doing all the adding up for us. The sum of all of these figures. Sum them up and it equals 350. This is one of the benefits of removing these 2 figures over here and doing our little sum and putting our subtotal there. Now closing capital, or it says here closing capital, but it's not actually closing capital. It's closing inventory. This figure here on our list of accounts. It says 200,000 there, which is correct, but it's not actually closing capital, it's closing inventory. What I'm going to do is come over here to my list, Control C, and paste it over there. Now, ideally what I wanted was rather than copy and paste all of these, copy and paste, I want to cut and paste. Let's try this. Here's my 3 current assets. I know we've got them over here, but I'm going to cut and paste by doing Control X and pasting them over here. This is where I want them to go. I just select the first cell, and this will be the top left-hand cell where I want those 3 accounts and their balances to be pasted. I'm going to hit enter. Bang, there they are. Okay, what's the difference? Well, there is no actual difference to what the student had done. The student had done it correctly. However, they hadn't used Excel. Let's use Excel. What are the benefits? The benefits are we have got the exact title names without messing them up. We've got the exact amounts without transcribing them incorrectly. Furthermore, by cutting and pasting them, they have disappeared from this list over here, and we know that they have been accounted for. And here they are. While we're about this balance sheet over here, this figure here should have the sum of that. Now, it does have the correct figure, but it does not use an equation. I'm going to, for the moment, just delete all those figures because none of them have equations behind them. They're all done manually and input. I'm going to delete them just so that when I show you something that's going on here, when I come back here, okay, rightio. There we are. Back over to my list of transactions. I've got ANC, does not stand for African National Congress, but assets non-current. These 2 figures here, I want to put them down here on the balance sheet. They are already there. I'm going to cut, Control X, come over here, and now paste. Okay. This one here doesn't quite fit. I'm going to widen out that column by selecting the column up here, going over to the very right-hand side of the column. My cursor changes from an arrow to a plus sign. I now click and drag, widen out my column, and now this account name here fits. What have I done there? I've got the exact account names as I had over here without getting any errors. Plus, I've got the exact amounts there that I wanted without transcribing any errors. Plus, they have disappeared from over here, so now I know I've accounted for them. let's do the COGS. What I want to do here is I want to put all these COGS in order. So the COGS over here, the order we want them in is opening inventory is first, then purchases is second, purchase returns is third, add in cartage inwards 4, add in buying expenses 5, goods available for sale is something that we added up, and the closing inventory is the 6th one. Okay, I'm going to highlight that column and put them all in the center there because I like it. Over here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 COGS accounts, and the first one should be opening inventory. There it is there. I'm going to put a 1. Purchases is the 2. Purchase returns is the 3. Cartage inwards is 4. Buying expenses is 5. And closing inventory, there it is 6. Now I want to highlight these 4 columns. The order that I've just done them in, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, COGS, the name of the account, and their balances. I'm going to highlight all of these 6 rows by 4 columns. Come up here to sort and filter. Select custom sort. Now my selection does not have headers. I've got to unselect that. And I want to order it in order of the first column, which is column A. Under the sort by, column A, I want it in order of smallest to largest. Okay. Now these are all ordered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they are all in order. Now with the exception of cost of goods available for sale there, why don't we just take these first 5? I don't want the COGS bit there. I'll take the 5 accounts and their amounts, Control X, select this cell here where I want them to go. Bam, there they are. I'm going to delete those figures just there. This 6th one, the closing inventory, should go right here. I'm going to select those 2, the account name and the amount, Control X, and select where I want it to go, which is there. Hit Enter. It's disappeared from here. It's appeared over here. Now I'm going to move them about. I'm going to select all of those, click and drag them over to here. Then I want to select my purchase return and purchase returns. Just these 2 figures, select them, put my cursor over the green outline and drag those back. As for closing inventory, I'm going to drag that over there or cut and paste. Now what I want to do, this cost of goods available for sale, first things first. Right here I want to do purchase less purchase returns. So I select this cell equals 54,000 minus 5,000. Boomba, 49,000. Now this cost of goods available for sale, I want to sum up this whole column and put that figure right there, because that is where I want to put in the cost of goods available for sale. So I select this cell and I type in equals sum, S-U-M, bracket. I've typed that in. Now with my cursor, I'm going to select this whole column. Well, not the whole column, but those 5 figures. Put that in there. Now the figure over here, this closing inventory, that's actually my COGS. I wouldn't mind having a separate row for that. I'm going to highlight this row here, the whole row. I'm going to right click and I want to insert 1 extra row. Insert, and I want to push everything below that down. Shift cells down, which is already selected. Boom, there it is. I've created a space in here. I want to put in here, I'm just going to call it COGS. Whoops, there it is. COGS, I might highlight it in black. And I'm just going to delete that. The COGS figure right here is the cost of goods available for sale minus closing inventory. So right here I'm going to go equals 350 minus 200,000 equals 150,000. And my gross profit is this figure minus that figure. So I'm going to type in that equals this figure minus that figure. Now I've got my gross profit.